Hi, I'm Linda Quinlan.
I'm Keith Ghostland.
I'm Ann Charles. It is Tuesday, June 30th, the last day of Pride Month. We have a lot of news to share with you, but before we start, we'd like to recognize that we're taping in Montpelier, Vermont, which is unceded Indigenous land. Linda?
Okay. I would just like to say that Queen Camilla
Yeah.
took a picture beside J.K. Rowling.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, I missed that.
Don't show the picture.
I didn't.
No.
And it's British. But I just...
Oh, that's okay. I'm glad, I've got
couldn't
enough trouble on my international news tonight.
I just couldn't resist.
Oh, gosh.
I know.
Okay.
That will hurt her popularity. But, well,
Well, maybe.
the queen.
Yeah, moving on.
I know. Well, there's an interesting story. Chris Ripper said she changed her Kansas license because the state required it. Then she got stopped by the police and turned into questions about whether her ID was valid. Kansas has dropped charges against a transgender woman who faced jail time for driving with a license that said she had been forced by state law to use.
Oh.
Kansas. Yeah.
I know.
Even Toto won't stay there anymore.
You're not in Kansas anymore?
Bingo.
Okay.
Yep.
Pop star, writer, and filmmaker Haley Kiyoko has long been cemented as a sapphic legend, referred lovingly by her fans as the Jesus lesbian, or lesbian Jesus.
Oh.
The singer has been making music and music videos celebrating sapphic love since well before doing so became a bit more mainstream. And now she has released a new film, and it's called Girls Like Girls, on her song of the same name. So here's the clip.
Who's this?
You found her sitting all alone.
Sonia has a thing for strays.
I'm Coley. You coming or what?
Glad we didn't scare you off.
Has he always been so possessive?
Like all guys. Promise you'll message me tonight?
You could have just given that to me on paper.
It's called romance.
Very nice to meet you, Sonia. You're welcome anytime.
So what are you doing here?
Oh my god, let's go.
Where'd you get that jacket?
It was Mom's.
You never mentioned her.
Do you think it's easy, loving someone?
You're like really pretty. I think you're really pretty too.
Gotta get with you.
Please don't hate me.
Are you serious? You've
Okay,
been ignoring me
I don't know what
for
I want.
weeks.
I know that you like me. You kissed me.
I guess I'm just like that with all my friends.
I want to see you find your person. There's so much for you to love about yourself, Coley.
I wish I could see it.
You will, I promise.
What were you guys doing in there?
Nothing.
I don't want to hurt you, Coley, but what would people think?
All I do is run. You could stop.
Like girls, like boys do, nothing new.
So that should be interesting. Former Secretary of Transportation and likely 2028 presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg was briefly separated from his children after an anonymous false report alleging he was a danger to his young twins. Buttigieg detailed the ordeal firsthand in the post on Starbuck titled, "A Terrible Thing Happened to My Family." A few days ago, he wrote, a police officer and Child Protection Services workers walked up to his door. They explained there had been an allegation against him, and it concerned our 4-year-old twins. He says he did his best to remain calm, but was of course bewildered and troubled. The officers informed him he could not be alone with his children until they underwent a forensic interview. A revelation, he said, made his stomach turn.
They held his 2 4-year-old sons for 24 hours.
I know it. And the thing that I think, Tim Miller, a pundit whom I follow, said, the person who made that call should be prosecuted.
Really?
Absolutely.
I guess, though, you know, they probably have, like, if you turn someone in anonymously, we won't say who you are, et cetera, et cetera.
I don't care.
But I mean, you know, I know. I'm just saying.
It's unacceptable.
Yeah.
You could do that to anybody,
Sure.
Yeah.
you know. And anti-LGBTQ and Fox News host Jesse Waters hurled insults at bisexual women during a segment about the movie Supergirl, which opens in theaters today. Waters was reacting to an assertion from the film's star, Millie Alcock, that her character could be bisexual, and as the declared the movie, despite to keep Hollywood woke, Waters declared, "No man will ever see this movie, presumably because its star is a female hero."
Oh, dear.
I know. Christian nationalists hate Pastor Joel Wieben, a man who blames Jewish people for all of societal evil, blames teachers for causing men to be gay, blames marijuana for making men spiritually gay, and thinks Adolf Hitler wasn't so bad after all, has encouraged anti-LGBTQ plus politicians to hide their views while running for office, and said that the government should seize the assets of wicked churches that support the LGBT community. I know. Are the people getting weirder out there? I mean, or is it just me? I don't know. I mean, this whole 4-year, or you know, whatever, has been really weird, but it just seems like people are getting weirder and weirder. I don't know.
People are getting permission.
I guess.
Exactly.
Following a 9-2 vote, the Minneapolis City Council voted Thursday to repeal the city's long-standing ban on adult bathhouses. A nearly 20-year prohibition now dates back to the earliest days of the AIDS crisis. So now bathhouses are opening again. I remember when they were big in San Francisco when I lived there.
Oh,
I have
New York and
no
everywhere.
comment.
Did they have them in Vermont?
You had to go to Montreal.
Ah, okay.
You know, and I have an anecdote about Sarah Schulman, the activist whom I followed. She was assigned to report on them for the New York Native, but they don't let women in. So it was an interesting assignment.
Now I'm going to talk about Scott Wiener and what happened to him in San Francisco. He first, you know, a while ago, he was, you know, pro-Israel and blah, blah, but he changed his stance and called out Israel for its genocide against the Palestinian people. Regardless.
Regardless.
It's in the dictionary now, though.
I know it, but
Some of us won't give in.
that's right.
California State Senator Scott Wiener says he was harassed, threatened, and physically intimidated at a San Francisco Trans March on Friday, forcing the out gay Jewish lawmaker to leave one of the country's most important transgender pride gatherings in the city that has long imagined itself as a refuge. Wiener, a Democrat who represents San Francisco and is running for a congressional seat long held by retiring House Speaker Emerita Nancy Emerita
Emeritus.
Emerita.
Emerita,
Yeah.
sorry,
Nancy Pelosi. Yep.
said in a statement posted to Instagram that 2 incidents this week showed how easily political anger can curdle into something more menacing. This year, Weiner said he could not safely remain. He said he was walking through Dolores Park to attend a trans-led Pride Sabbath service connected to the march when a group became screaming at him, ran towards him, surrounding him, and harassed him, both verbally and physically, including physical contact. In the past, he has been reluctant to call the war on Palestinians as genocide, but has recently reversed his opinion.
He's gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw the clip. Did anybody see
I
it?
did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
It was horrendous.
Yeah. So I'm just going to do one more story and then we'll move on to Keith. Eugene Pride organizes last year's hate group presence and recent police actions against trans activists made the march untenable. Organizers of a Pride March in Oregon have canceled the event, citing concerns about violence, distrust of police, and what they described as a lack of support from law enforcement. So Eugene's Pride is over. So
It never happened.
no. Okay, Keith.
All right, so we keep saying this is the last day of Pride, and we like to have catchy themes for our Pride days. This past week in New York's was For All of Us, which was inspired by a Marsha P. Johnson call for inclusion. San Francisco's, we should have done muzzle, but Resistance in Action. Chicago, Free to be Proud. Well, here in Vermont, we like catchy themes, and we had one for our first Pride Day in Burlington in 1983. What might that theme have been? So, looking at upcoming events, Rainbow Umbrella Book Discussion Group, still belonging to the air?
Yes.
And you've started it.
Not yet.
Okay, then I won't ask your opinion of it. Women's Discussion Group, you were talking last time about you may take a little time off, or?
We postponed this week's meeting. People are sick, people are traveling, so we're going to meet again on the 15th.
Of July? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, but they should look at the Facebook page for the most current information.
Correct.
So, okay. LGBTQ Story Hour, we're a bit of hiatus until maybe September.
September, October, that's right. We just found that, the crowds were dwindling. Summer is a time when people are away and doing other things. So we decided we'd just wait till September or October to start again.
It gives you time to create and think about the stories you'd like to share. Mm-hmm. So Fox Market in East Montpelier, they're starting to, get up and going and more activities. Check on their websites because I will get their monthly calendar tomorrow. So I'm always late in reporting on what they're doing. Pride Center of Vermont wants us to remind people that the trans support groups are meeting. And we will make sure that the contact email is up if you are interested in attending. The second Tuesdays of each month, they're at the Outright offices. The fourth Tuesday is a virtual group on Zoom. So, and here I want to put out a plug for Vermont Queer Era, and we'll make sure that their website gets put up. Austin, who is the person who is coordinating the website, is trying to truly create a statewide resources with an events calendar and organizations and specific needs and functions. And it's user friendly, Anne. So looking at what they've got up, the first thing is paint. Paint,
okay.
a drag cabaret, a family reunion. Apparently, this is the 10th anniversary of Paint Drag Cabaret. It will be at Higher Ground on Friday, July 10th from 8 to 11. $25 in advance, $30 at the door. It's going to be hosted by co-creator Miss Pickle, with performances by former cast members, Emoji Nightmare, Nikki Champagne, Marjorie Mayhem, Brittany Rose, Susan Saran Wrap. There we go. And they will have music going through all the night, and it's a celebration about Burlington drag the way it used to be and what it's become. So, but emoji may not be done with just that, because once you get emoji going, you can't stop that. Emoji Nightmare presents Lip Sync Lollapalooza.
Not ready.
This is Friday, July 17th at the Comedy Club on Main Street in Burlington. $25 cover. Great if you enjoy RuPaul's Drag Race. So go head to head in a lip sync battle, round by round, and at the end, an ultimate victor is crowned and awarded a cash prize. We should practice. Yeah, but if
They're going to have drag kings.
It says lip sync Lollapalooza, I don't see, and it says RuPaul's Drag Race. I don't see where it
Would limit it.
differentiates
Yeah.
or restricts, as opposed to when we talk about the Supreme Court. But but if that's not enough for you, the next night, Saturday the 18th, Emoji might be back with Snatch Game. And this is, and again, it's 7 to 9, Comedy Club, $25 cover. Vermont's best drag and burlesque performers take on celebrities and famous figures to compete for a cash prize in this queer and campy take on the vintage match game. So I think that we should sign up as being the celebrities.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay, with that,
All right. Let me start out with a Gaza statement. A UN Commission of Inquiry says that Israel committing genocide in Gaza is committing genocide in Gaza by deliberately targeting children. This is according to the BBC. More than 73,000 Palestinians have been killed and 173,000 injured in Gaza since October 7, 2023, according to the health minister's tally. Independent experts, public health researchers, and organizations like the UN say that the true number of fatalities may be significantly higher than official counts. While exact militant counts are heavily debated, official tracking indicates that women, children, and the elderly make up the majority of those killed. Recent epidemiological studies, including surveys published in The Lancet, suggest that direct violent deaths may be even higher. In addition to the casualties in Gaza, more than 1,000 Palestinians have been killed in the West Bank over the same period. Now, in contrast, the October 7th surprise attacks and subsequent violence resulted in the deaths of 1,195 people, including 815 civilians. Of course, we deplore all of this, but this genocide in Gaza has got to stop. It's unrelenting, it's U.S. supported, it's unacceptable, it's reprehensible. And so I think it's important to speak out wherever we can about it. Now, let's move to a world headline, if I may. Public pride, or LGBTQ visibility events took place in exactly 101 of the world's 193 UN member states. All right. While these celebrations span the globe, LGBTQ plus communities in the remaining 92 countries are unable to safely hold public pride events due to severe legal restrictions or intense political hostility. This we may surmise. Of the 101 countries hosting pride, local movements are putting down roots far beyond capital cities, and we talked about this last time.
Yeah, the rural.
In at least 66 of these countries, pride events are celebrated in multiple towns and rural communities. In nations where pride is outlawed or heavily targeted by the state, visibility remains an act of resistance. And I'll talk about chapter and verse when I get to various continents. Countries like Saint Lucia celebrated public pride immediately after the Supreme Court decriminalized consensual same-sex conduct. So that's an international milestone that has occurred. Meanwhile, on the other end of the earth, researchers even host coordinated polar pride events across multiple research stations in Antarctica. So pride is alive and well, and I'll tell you more about specific marches soon. But let's start, and this really isn't LGBTQ, but it's a really important human rights issue that I think deserves our attention. Colombia, this is my only South American story, it bans female genital mutilation. Oh. I'd like to show you a picture of Claudia Kirigama, who is an indigenous activist and has been pushing for this legislation. Colombia has just become the first Latin American country to approve nationwide legislation prohibiting female genital mutilation, or FGM. Now, Claudia Quiranga, an indigenous Embera leader, she's from a very remote community where the practice is still carried out. She hails this moment as a turning point, and she talked about how it's prevalent in rural communities, but it's secret. So nobody wants to talk about it. And, she tries to raise awareness, but in these rural countries, in rural parts of Colombia, you can't go around and meet easily. The practice is still widespread. Some 230 million women and girls around the world are estimated to have undergone some form of FGM. Up until recently, the practice was thought to have disappeared in Latin America, but in 2007, 2 girls in Colombia died from the procedure after their injuries became infected. Their deaths marked the first recorded instances of FGM in Colombia's recent history, and they catapulted the issue back into the spotlight. In the 2 decades since, indigenous leaders and politicians have fought to end the practice, but traditions of secrecy, they warn, still stand in their way. So between January 2024 and March 2026, 98 instances of female genital mutilation were recorded in the country. Of those cases, 70% were under the age of 1. Wow. And this is, I had no idea this was going on. Somalia is supposed to be the capital of the world, but anyway.
Well, exactly. I didn't think that this was an indigenous practice
in South America.
Yeah.
Colombia's ongoing armed conflict has also contributed to the isolation that some communities face. This bill, 440, gives the Colombian government 12 months to create a permanent nationwide public policy for the eradication of FGM. Its approach, however, will be non-punitive, and they emphasize you can't scold people about this. The legislation is centered on raising public awareness about FGM, and it is slated to fund educational campaigns, provide health care training, and improve case tracking. So it's an informative. Claudia Quiramaga says, I believe that in 10 years, Colombia will be able to say the Embera women stepped up. They fought for change. So now let's go to a film clip from Australia, and this is kind of in honor of Linda. It's a very creepy, coming-of-age, romantic, supernatural horror film. It follows two teenagers who become tormented by a violent supernatural entity summoned by their religious community that takes the form of the person they desire most, each other. Following his father's sudden death, Naim Reed and his mother Arlene locate to an isolated town in Victoria. This is Australia, as we know. While she finds comfort in the town's deeply religious community, Naim struggles to accept its devout beliefs and practices. His only refuge is local teenager Ryan Whalen, with whom he begins a secret romance. Their relationship fractures when Naim witnesses Ryan kissing the pastor's son, Hunter. Spurred by hurt, jealousy, and fear of his own feelings, Naim outs Ryan and Hunter to the latter's parents. Leviticus 20:26, and we all know there's a biblical reference there. It's currently playing exclusively in theaters following its limited release on June 19th of this year.
What's it called?
Leviticus.
Oh.
A streaming release date has not been officially announced by Neon, but you can find a nearby show. You can look at Apple TV, Fandango, and Atom Tickets. So now let's look at a clip from Leviticus.
You like it here? What do you like about this place?
My mom wanted to move here. Stuck in this shithole.
So, there's nothing you like about this place?
Nothing. Indecency. Lust. Desire. It has to go now. Look at the light.
Ryan? You okay? You see anything that looks like me? Don't go near it. It comes when no one else is around. Nothing can make it stop.
Open it! It's gonna kill him!
This is what they wanted. They wanted us to be scared.
Oh, I gotta see that. Oh.
Reminds me of an old film that I had seen where it was a single mother, young son moving to this coastal religious community, and it turns out that all of the religious community are vampires.
Yeah,
Ah, well, there we go.
I'd like to see that.
I know you would.
Let's go to Asia now, if I may. Starting with
This will
some...
be your last story, Ann, for now.
Okay, it's a depressing one. The Malaysian government asked the public to use a derogatory phrase in place of LGBTQ. It's urging the public to discontinue the use of LGBTQ to avoid normalizing LGBTQ people. In its place, the Deputy Minister for Religious Affairs says the public should use the term perverted deviant culture to describe all things LGBTQ. The more we utter, write, or state it, the more pop-out content related to it will appear, he said in a parliamentary session. Without realizing it, we are promoting the culture unknowingly. Replacing LGBTQ with the new derogatory term will influence online algorithms away from displaying LGBTQ content in the country and therefore prevent promotion of queer culture, he said. The move follows a record crackdown on members of the LGBTQ community in the Muslim majority nation in recent years. Remember, well, the Malaysian LGBTQ activist group Justice for Sisters reported that 307 queer people were arrested in the country under both federal and state laws in 2025 alone. The organization has also documented an increase in public complaints against LGBTQ people, leading to surveillance, raids, and cancellation of events. Due to safety concerns, Malaysia, not surprisingly, ranks low on the Equidex country rankings for LGBTQ rights at 151 out of 197 nations. So that's
All right.
And I'm going to say what I used to say all the time, it's not perverted as long as you're doing it properly.
run that by some Malaysian legislators to see how it flies.
Well, we'll all be happy to know that Louisiana workers will soon be shielded from discipline if they refuse to use a transgender or non-binary co-worker's name. Under a new law signed by Republican Governor Jeff Landry, LGBTQ advocates warn will invite workplace discrimination under the banner of free speech. Zoran Mamdani made history last year as a Democratic socialist who won New York City's mayoral election. The now mayor's win wasn't just a victory for progressives. His campaign promised to allocate resources for queer and transgender New Yorkers, as well as incorporate policy guidance by high-profile LGBTQ organizers. Now, halfway through his first year in office, he is attempting to live up to that lofty LGBTQ policy agenda that endeared him to trans New Yorkers. In that time, he's already established the city's first ever Office of LGBTQIA+ Affairs and appointed trans civil rights attorney Taylor Brown as its inaugural director. Among Mandami's other historic LGBTQ appointments are Shanta Smith Cruz, a black lesbian archivist, librarian, and dean of Barnard Library, as a commissioner of New York City Department of Records and Information Services, and fire commissioner Lillian Bonsignor, a lesbian with over 30 years of service in the New York City Fire Department. So, good for us, huh? Good for him, good for us.
Good for all.
However, you know how like every year there'll be a gay day at the Red Sox or whatever, but now
Oh, yeah.
the minor league baseball team York Revolution forfeit a Pride Night game scheduled for June 18th because several of its players refused to wear the rainbow commemorative jerseys. And there's been a lot of teams lately who have just been refusing to do that. The Daughters of the American Revolution, you'll be really glad to hear this, officially rejected a proposed ban on trans women from joining, from playing in women's sports.
Oh, good.
Yes, good for them. I thought they were more conservative.
They are conservative.
U.S. Representative Randy Fine and Greg Stubbe joined Florida's Attorney General to demand Irish dancers change the rules before the Orlando Championship. Apparently they have a transgender dancer, and they do not want that person to dance before the competition in Orlando. So there you go. Irish dancers. Okay, Keith.
Can't stand the heat, huh?
I know.
Okay. So, along the same lines as Anne's statement about Gaza, we need to be attentive of what Homeland Security and ICE continue to do. And they're doing it in our name. And with our tax dollars, they increasingly get more and more money, and they find ways of circumventing accountability in this process. In a recent interview, it was disclosed that one of the people who had witnessed the March 11th event here in South Burlington, the abuse that ICE was directing towards the protesters and then hiding behind Vermont law enforcement. And what I didn't appreciate is when they were inside the home, they discharged their weapons. And I don't think that had ever been part of the story
No,
before.
I haven't heard that.
ICE has no accountability, and they are truly out of control. And we have a data center in Williston where they are collecting information nationwide that they're then feeding back out. And they are indeed using the flock cameras to track movements. So it's in our name.
Didn't some elders get arrested for
The
picketing?
elders are doing a demonstration every Wednesday, and they're deliberately each time some elders that choose to go inside the building, even though they know the landlord is going to say, no, you can't be here, and they're going to be taken into custody, just as that nonviolent demonstration of, I want people to know what you're doing. I want people to see this.
Good.
So the big thing that happened this morning, is the U.S. Supreme Court handed down the last of its rulings. And there was the birthright citizenship, and then there was about, protect women's sports, transgender athletes, in specifically women's sports. And there were two cases that were brought before it, one out of Idaho and one out of West Virginia. And in both cases, the athletes challenged the ban, saying that the ban was based on a premise that somehow they had an advantage by virtue of being transgender. However, they had been taking hormone blockers and taking estrogen prepubescent, so that supposed advantage didn't exist, and therefore they shouldn't be banned. The Supreme Court, and it's a very narrow decision. I mean, you're going to hear the big, bold headlines of Supreme Court upholds ban on transgender athletes. That's not really what they did. What happened is they upheld the laws, and they handed it back to the state saying, this is your decision on how you want to approach this. That looking at Title IX, which is what covers non-discrimination and sex discrimination in sports, the definition of sex is specifically biological sex. But that interpretation is only for Title IX. And if you think about the Supreme Court decisions that we've reported on in the past, where they said sexual orientation, gender identity was included under that definition of sex, the Supreme Court in previous rulings said that that decision did not render an opinion on Title IX. So what we all need to keep in mind is this is not a ban. This is not saying that transgender athletes cannot compete. It says it's up to each state to determine how and under what circumstances it is allowed. It does not repeal any existing law, such as what Vermont has, and our Vermont Principals Association, that says you can compete in the sport that is in alignment with your gender identity. So it doesn't undo positive things that has happened, but it also, unfortunately, does support the negative that has. So that those states where they have already put a ban in place, they're going to be able to keep them. And sort of an interesting sort of sideway, two things. And if this sounds familiar, it's because, well, it really is familiar. But Kelly Ayotte
Oh, yeah.
in New Hampshire has again vetoed a bathroom bill. And in the governor's statement, she said, "This is the fourth time you've brought this to me. It's not any different now than it was before. The language you are using is so vague as this is unenforceable." And Sununu had already set the precedent by, non-discrimination statutes and vetoing one of the versions of this bill before. It's like, so how many times can you do this before you kind of get it that, maybe I should move on to something else? But also following that train of transgender athletes. Story coming out of Maine. Graham Plattner was in the Pride Day parades saying, if you deny anyone's rights, you're denying all of our rights. And he had on support trans buttons and T-shirts, made very strong statements. And he said, you're right. You've seen those old Reddit accounts where I used horrendous language. It was, I cannot defend it. It's not who I was now. It was reprehensible. And I'm not sure how much this might come out during the campaign. They turned around and looked at Susan Collins. Susan Collins may have been one of the signatures on that ballot referendum to protect girls' sports, to ban transgender athletes. And even though the referendum is not going forward because of all of the problems with the signatures, her office admits that, yes, indeed, that she did sign it, but she's not taking a position.
Yeah, right.
Excuse me, you signed the referendum, but you're not taking a position. So my sense is that as the campaign progresses, the Republican side is going to bring out things about Graham's private life. Hopefully what's going to come out is more about Susan Collins' public life. Mm-hmm. And these are the things you did. These are the votes that you cast, such as her saying she doesn't regret her vote in favor of Brett Kavanaugh. Regardless of...
Someone brought up in Vermont, and in Maine, I can't remember who it was a Maine representative, and was saying that, we have to keep in mind by that Kavanaugh appointment how many women and children have actually died
because of it.
Because of her.
Right.
And, that's what we keep needing to slam in Maine, is like, she has caused the death of thousands of people.
Right.
And very quickly,
Women.
last story, and I'm going to turn it back over to Anne. And thank you to The Bridge for actually writing a very well detailed story. And please, I'm going to just do highlights. Go to The Bridge and read it. There was an anti-bullying rally that happened most recently in Barrie. And it was in response to, we had 3 suicides of our youth. And it's where all of the signs got created, you count, the Trevor Project, you matter, putting up to support our youth. Well, they organized a rally in Curry Park. And there were people who, from the People's Health and Wellness Center and from Barrie Pride, who showed up at the rally and said, you need to be looking at who it is that's organizing this rally, because the organizer had been associated with 802 Scoop and Aired Out, both of which are podcast. And both People's Health and Wellness and Barrie Pride said this organizer contributed to the environment in which bullying occurs. Mm-hmm. They created the climate where our youth felt that they didn't count, that they weren't worthy, and said, why are we supporting this? Standing up and saying this now, this empty platitude, it doesn't matter. look at the harm you have already done. So, and the reason I'm putting it out there tonight is that the person who organized the rally said they were going to be organizing more.
Oh,
And it's like, okay, we need to step up and we need to be there for our youth and we need to take the initiatives to organize something in support of them. So,
okay. I have a multitude of stories. So I'm
why
going
am I not surprised?
I'm going to have to do headlines, I'm afraid. I'm still in Asia. I'm counting Russia as Asia. Russia has sentenced a nightclub owner and his staff to jail.
yeah.
It's under the LGBTQ movement ban.
Off to the gulag.
Authorities say it's the first prosecution under this ban. The owner of the Pose Club was sentenced to 7 years in jail in order to pay a fine of $12,900. Two other staff members were arrested and were convicted. One was sentenced to 6 years and 3 months, and the art director was handed a sentence of 2 years and 3 months. All three defendants denied guilt. Russia's Supreme Court designated the LGBTQ movement as extremist in 2023, a move that enabled serious criminal cases against LGBTQ people and their advocates. So that's bad. 50 people were detained by police in Istanbul Pride. And that's why, I don't mean to be judgmental about Eugene, Oregon, but these people are marching against steep odds. The event took place on June 28th. Journalists covering Istanbul Pride faced unlawful interference again this year, despite repeatedly identifying herself as a journalist. A woman named Unsal was also taken into custody. Protesters gathered in a number of neighborhoods around Istanbul in order to carry out demonstrations. At one location, they chanted, "My love today isn't over yet. In fact, we're just getting started. We're not giving up. We'll keep taking to the streets on every corner we're in." It's not outlawed in Turkey to be LGBTQ. Same-sex activity was decriminalized in the 19th century. Trans people have rights too, but Recep Tayyip Erdogan has listed LGBTQ people as one of the biggest threats against the family and blamed homosexuality.
It's gotten more conservative, Turkey.
For the country's declining birth rate. Turkey was recently ranked as one of the worst countries to be LGBTQ in Europe. It's number 47 out of 49. But now let's have some good news, sort of interesting news too. Japan has instituted a nationwide LGBTQ education program. They're one of the only G7 countries to not have marriage. The head of Japan opposes same-sex marriage, but the initiative reportedly includes requirements for schools to provide information to students about sexuality and gender-diverse people, as well as access to social workers and counselors. The plan also directs universities to add training on sexual diversity for future healthcare workers and academics.
So you can be diverse but not married.
Right, you can't be married. And they think that the president is going to sign this bill because she wants the youth vote, even though she opposes same-sex marriage and a little bit of a homophobe. But now, let's go to Seoul Pride. There are at least 15,000 anti-LGBTQ activists and counter-protesters.
15,000?
15,000 anti-activists counter-protested, but Seoul Queer Culture Festival drew more than 3 times as many people as 15,000. Seoul saw dueling LGBTQ-focused events over the weekend, with tens of thousands showing up for the South Korean capital city's annual Pride Festival. So they far outnumbered the counter-protests. They estimated that some 50,000 LGBTQ people and allies attended the 27th annual event, while the festival was once again banned from its previous home, Seoul Plaza, under an anti-LGBTQ mayor. The mood at the event and its centerpiece was joyful. And now let's look at a picture of 6 who's 33 on the left, and Twin, who's 32, celebrating. More good news from Asia. Nepal's Supreme Court issues a landmark marriage equality ruling.
Nice.
Is that good news or what? They had a temporary measure, but now they're making it permanent. Now let's go to Europe for more good news.
Good news?
Yeah.
Okay.
Netherlands to ban conversion therapy
yes.
for both kids and vulnerable adults. Okay. And then let's hop to France, since we're rushing through. The French National Assembly observes a minute of silence for a gay 19-year-old killed in an alleged hate crime. Let's look at a picture of him. His name is Noem. Two men, aged 20 and 27, attacked him. And this was in the northeast France. He died of his injuries. One of his friends said, I yelled as loud as I could. He witnessed the attack. Their group encountered another group that accused Noam and his friends of filming them. They hit him once. He fell to the ground. After he was on the ground, they continued. Several LGBTQ organizations, of course, denounced it, and on June 19th, the National Assembly, the lower chamber of the French legislature, scheduled to observe a minute of silence. Well, they had planned to observe the minute for an 11-year-old named Liana, who was found dead earlier this month, and whose death has led to demonstrations. So they observed a moment of silence for them both. An estimated 1,800 anti-gay attacks occurred in France in 2025. Now, drag queens. Remember we were talking about England and the Reform Party? So more than 10 drag queens have quit the Attleboro Pride and now are boycotting the event after it emerged that the organizer is a Reform counselor. So the Pride event is run by Daniel Burcham, who has organized the event for the last 6 years. However, he has been elected as the Norfolk County City Council member under the Reform Party. So protesters have accused Reform of working against the gay community. And his line, Buckham said, the event planned for August will go ahead without the performers, but has hit back at those who have quit for attempting to politicize the parade. Sexuality does not automatically determine political beliefs. No political movement has the right to claim ownership of an entire community. This is deeply disappointing, but it should be a positive, inclusive, community event. But it has become so heavily politicized. And let's look at a picture of Stella Jobs, who told the Eastern Daily Press that her decision was a question of morals. The drag queen, who was born in Poland, went on to say, it just seems wrong to work with somebody who works with the party that actively campaigns against people like us, especially someone like me who wasn't born in this country. I'm their number one enemy. And now I have two more stories of interest. Let's look at a picture now of Pride March in Kyiv. It's the largest since the start of the war. 5,000 people joined the annual march in Kyiv, making it the largest turnout since the start of the war. Pride marches have been held in Kyiv almost every year since 2013. The recent march marked the 10th Pride overall and the third since Russia's full-scale attack began. And they want Kyiv to change their civil code that says marriage is between a man and a woman. And
well, if they could end the war, they might make some progress. But.
Now I have one final story. Remember Budapest Pride?
Yeah.
Tens of thousands march in the first Budapest Pride since Viktor Orban was voted out. Let's look at a picture and let's hear from some celebrants.
People are much more optimistic right now. Probably it's because of the political change, but everyone is just so much more uplifted.
So Orban is out of power, so actually what we can feel personally that the government is more or less behind us.
It's more free, it's more accessible by the government. Yeah, last year they tried to shut it down. That wasn't very, what I would say, in the spirit of Pride. I really hope more people feel accepted and loved by this government. And I truly hope they will deliver on the things they promised us that they would.
It began Saturday afternoon as temperatures reached 100 degrees Fahrenheit amid record-breaking heat. The heat wave that's gripped Europe. Organizers distributed water bottles to marchers, and the city's public water utility opened fountains along the route. So,
there you go.
I think their heat wave is starting to come our way.
It's going to be here tomorrow.
So, Pride. 1983, we had one Pride festival and parade in Vermont. We had 16 statewide this year, different Pride events. The theme, because we know how to spin a phrase, in 1983 was, "Water won't run straight, and neither will we."
Yay.
So with that...
So on that, keep it up. Good work, everybody. We got a long road ahead, but we're going to do it.
Absolutely.
As what's her name says, Heather Cox Richardson, we are the people and we can make changes. So let's do it. And remember,
resist.